Happy day, Internet! How you doing? Tad with T Digitech. It's narrowing down in the last final days of E3. We've already had 4 or 5 E3 conferences, and tomorrow is our last one. But tonight we had Sony's conference, and it was bittersweet. I'm gonna give you my thoughts and review PlayStation's conference and give it a final grade. Stick around, make sure you subscribe, and let's roll the clip. So first off, I've been so excited about the PlayStation conference all year long. They're usually my favorite conference. This year, I felt it was very lackluster. We had a lot of glitches. We had a lot of unmeaningful musical numbers throughout the day, especially starting out. And this was definitely the weakest opening of any E3 stage we've had thus far, which is kind of discouraging because PlayStation is probably the biggest video game company out there right now as far as profitability. So I was really disappointed that they didn't just immediately go right into something big and huge. Maybe, I don't know, a new IP, or granted we got Resident Evil 2 remastered. Maybe they should have started off with that just to kind of get that hype up. And granted, they were having some technical difficulties. It seems like this E3, there have been a lot of technical difficulties. Of course, that's kind of what makes it fun, is to see those hiccups and to see those awkward moments and cringy moments from people. That's just what makes an E3 experience an E3 experience. You have to expect that. But getting right into it, we got an in-depth look at Ghost of Tshusima. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Tshusima. It just, the logo's right there. That's what it looks like. I can't pronounce it. But this game, oh my gosh, it looks freaking awesome. I cannot tell you how awesome this looks. This looks like it is a next-gen console game. I don't know if we're going to get graphics this good on any other game, but this looks phenomenal. I cannot wait for this to be released. And to be honest, I think this is coming on PS5. I don't think we should expect this on the PS4. And if they do end up giving us a PS4 release date, I think it's going to be pushed forward, and then they'll end up eventually putting it on the PS5. And I think games coming this late into the PS4's life cycle also could be getting PS5 titles, kind of like what we had with the Xbox 360 and the Xbox One when the consoles first came out. I just love the whole atmosphere of having a sword and just being in that culture. I think that this is something that we really haven't experienced aside from Neo and granted some Dark Souls stuff, but really we haven't quite had this distinct atmosphere in a PlayStation title before. I think it's going to be refreshing. I think it's going to be fun, and I think it's obviously going to be really gorgeous when we get a chance to play it. One of the games that really got my attention, and it got the audience's attention, you could tell because it sounded like they were going nuts for it. You could tell the audience was super hyped for this. It's basically about a girl who can fly, and she has telekinesis. I kind of pictured it as like Inception and Evil Within also had a baby, and I want it now. I want that game now. But I know it's probably well off into maybe fall of 2019. The game is also coming out for PC and Xbox One, so it's not an exclusive title to Sony, but I felt that it was perfect right there on the Sony stage just because of the aesthetic of it being so science fiction, and like I said, it just looks gorgeous. An official synopsis reads, after a secretive agency in New York is invaded by an otherworldly threat, players will take on the role of Jess Faden, the new director struggling to regain control. This sandbox-style game-driven experience built on the proprietary Northlight engine challenges players to master a combination of supernatural abilities, modifiable loadouts, and redactive environments, while fighting through the deep and mysterious worlds Remedy is known and loved for. And that's awesome that the developer Remedy finally got to be on the Sony stage, because they've had an exclusivity contract with Microsoft for the past few years. I just love the whole shifting world type atmosphere. It looks so cool, and my mind is just going so many places about where that game could go. Especially if it's anything like Quantum Break was. That was one of my favorite exclusive games for the Xbox that came out a couple years ago. One of the things that really sold me here on this stage was Kingdom Hearts. After seeing that Pirates of the Caribbean scene, I was like, yes, I am sold. So far, we've only seen Kingdom Hearts set in places like Hercules, Toy Story. We've seen it in Frozen and Wreck-It Ralph and Big Hero 6, but now we're getting it into Pirates of the Caribbean, so some of the live action movies, which is so cool. And it sounds like they got Johnny Depp involved, because the character models look just like the actors. One thing that I'm not super, into is the dialogue from some of the other characters. That's just kind of the atmosphere of the game itself. So you kind of just got to expect that. But that moment that I saw Pirates of the Caribbean, it just brought all of the Disney universes together. And I think that Square Enix is really holding off on us. I think we're going to see a lot more Disney IPs involved in this game. They haven't even touched on Star Wars or Marvel. And really, this is the perfect time for them to do it. And maybe that's why it's been pushed back so many years. This is coming out 4 years after they originally debuted it. I have a high bar set for Kingdom Hearts now, especially after delaying it for 4 years. Because really, there has to be something else that they're not showing us. And maybe we'll get another teaser, but I think that was it. I don't think we're going to see much more Kingdom Hearts. So hopefully the game just surprises it when it comes out. All I hope is that it's not pushed back again. I think people, if you do push it back again, people are going to start to want their money back, because that just means that you are really not caring about your audience. And 4 years? Really? You needed 4 years? What? We get an Assassin's Creed game every year, and it gets like a 9 out of 10 from IGN. Come on. Gosh, Mickey. 4 years, Mickey. We want our money back. Gosh. Oh, yeah, Goof. Give us our money, you fuckers. Oh, I am so sleep deprived. E3 has been intense. One thing that I loved seeing, because we haven't had anything like this in the past couple years, but we finally got that Resident Evil 2 remake, that there have been whispers online that it was in development, and finally it was announced. We got an awesome trailer. We had no idea what it was until about a minute in. And then the internet just started freaking out, including myself. I can't wait to play it. Hopefully it's over-the-shoulder style gameplay, and then I'm going to jump into the first-person mode. I want to keep it the same that Resident Evil 2 originally was, and not deviate way too much from the source material. Obviously, Resident Evil 7 was a great FPS shooter, one of the best, in fact, if not the best FPS horror shooter of all time. So going back to its roots, I think, is important, just to show maybe newcomers from the series who never played Resident Evil 1 or Resident Evil 2 or Resident Evil 3, that these are how these games originally were, and they were fantastic. So props to Sony for actually putting that in development, because that has been such a whisper on Reddit for such a long time. All right, now I'm going to get into one thing that I had a serious problem with. And if you know me, I do not like just being teased all the time. And I'm talking to you, Death Stranding. Thankfully, yeah, we got some gameplay. But I still don't know what the hell it is. I don't know what that game is at all. It looks cool. And to be frank, I don't think we're going to know even when it does come out. I think we're going to play the game, and it's going to be one of those ambiguous things that has some maybe social or political meaning. And it's just the gameplay experience is the game. So I don't think we're ever really going to get a story. I think that's just what it is. It looks cool. Obviously, the CGI and the motion capture looks phenomenal. Norman Reedus just looks like him. I can't even tell that he's a virtual character. He looks just like him. So props to them, but still, like, come on, guys. Give us a little bit more. We could have got some in-depth stuff, like maybe how to control the character, what your mission is, what you are doing as the lead character. We don't know your role in all of this, and we don't really know if it's going to be you as the protagonist or if there's going to be multiple protagonists. Because now after this conference, I'm seeing that we're having a male and female potential protagonist, or she's going to be his lover. Who knows? Who knows with this game? Either way, I'm going to buy the game because it looks gorgeous. The environment looks amazing, and the engine it's running on looks butterly smooth. And it looks like such a cool horror sci-fi mixed combination. Something that we haven't seen before, which is awesome, and it's ambitious. And it's honestly, I think that's why it's getting the hype, is because we don't know exactly what it is, and it makes us keep guessing what it is, which makes us keep talking about it. Makes sense. And now let's talk about Spider-Man. Spider-Man was what they closed their show out with. And this game looks amazing. I mean, I already knew it looked amazing after seeing it last E3, because this has been a big highlight for PlayStation the last couple years. We know we're getting it at the end of this year. Thank God that we're getting Spider-Man. At least we're getting something this fall. Because everybody else doesn't have the balls to release when Red Dead Redemption is coming out. And to be frank, we didn't see anything from Red Dead, but I'm going to get to that in a second. But this game looks freaking amazing. We got a full-on gameplay section, and it's not just one villain. We finally have the Sinister Six all at one time facing Spider-Man. And the reason why I really like this game is because it really makes me reminisce about Spider-Man 2 on the GameCube, or was it the PlayStation 2? I think it was, I played it on the GameCube, and it was just one of those games that it was open world, and you were a superhero. You could do anything you wanted. And this, I think, is easily going to top that by far, because obviously it's a newer console game. It's been in the works for forever. And their last game, Sunset Overdrive, was amazing. So they've been working on this game since then. So who knows what's in store. But it's going to be a full-fledged open world game. And the possibilities are endless. You could go up to the Empire State Building. You could go to the islands of New York. You can pretty much just do side missions and help rescue people instead of taking on the story missions. And what I think I really like about it too is that Spider-Man also kind of reminds me of Peter Parker, Tobey Maguire from the Sam Raimi trilogy of Spider-Man movies. And I think he just has that quirkiness and that same humor and kind of cockiness that he had as an actor. And I can't wait to play this game. I'm so excited. It's going to be really Spider-Man and Red Dead for me this fall. And since we don't have a ton of Microsoft exclusives, I'm pretty much going to be sticking to Sony and whatever Nintendo announces tomorrow. And I think that they're going to have some things announced this fall just because we have that allotment open and they usually like to release stuff in time for the holidays. So we got a pretty awesome look at The Last of Us 2. I already knew this game was going to be great, but we got a pretty cool look at Ellie's relationship and how she has this psychological trauma. But we didn't see, and I noticed this was really weird, we didn't see any creatures in this. It was all Ellie versus humans, which is an interesting way to go for an E3 conference because that's what The Last of Us has kind of been known for, is they're cool creatures and they're like zombie characters. So having it really be about humans versus humans, I think says a lot. Either way, the game looks great. I think this is definitely going to be one of the last big PlayStation 4 releases that we're going to get before the console dies out. We definitely are going to need to get a PlayStation 5 announcement next year because I think that Sony's really kind of starting to die down on their exclusives. I was honestly hoping maybe for like some other stuff, and that's what I'm going to get into right now. We didn't see any Borderlands, which I was discouraged about. I was really hoping for a Borderlands remastered since I've never played them. I really want to jump into them. So, I mean, granted, I know that some of them are on PS4 anyways, but I just want to really kind of jump into that universe, and I thought that would be a great time. Maybe it's coming in the future, maybe at like an anniversary date. I think that would be fine. So I'll be patient with that. We also didn't see any Splinter Cell, and that has been rumored for a long time. I am surprised that Microsoft honestly didn't announce it, but instead we got Cyberpunk 2077. And I honestly thought that the little beginning teaser from Microsoft's conference was going to be a Splinter Cell reveal, but it wasn't. And nonetheless, we got Cyberpunk, which I'm not complaining about. I think I'd rather have Cyberpunk over Splinter Cell. Fanboys, don't come after me. But Splinter Cell, I think, would have been a great time to reveal at Sony's conference just because we haven't had a Splinter Cell game in forever. And maybe it's not ready. Maybe they're still working on their Ghost Recon and they're still stuck on that franchise. As you know, Ghost Recon is doing so well right now that maybe they don't see a need to do the Splinter Cell, or if they are indeed working on it, then maybe they just need some more time before they want to reveal it. Could be in its early stages. We also didn't see anything from Red Dead Redemption 2, and that's kind of interesting to me because we had a pretty much full look at The Amazing Spider-Man, and that's releasing this fall, but nothing from Red Dead Redemption 2. I guess Rockstar is going to just want to do it on their own or have their own conference. Rockstar is obviously one of the very, very secret companies, and they like to do things on their own time. So maybe that's why. But I thought with the release date, especially with all the pre-order stuff coming out, that it would have been a good time to showcase something at one of these E3 conferences. But nonetheless, I guess we're not going to get anything from Rockstar this year. But granted, the game, I don't really want to know a ton about Red Dead Redemption 2. I want to go into it fresh. So that's, I mean, it's kind of a fine line to ride because I definitely want to see more, but I also want to be surprised more. That's why I sometimes try to deviate away from watching a lot of movie trailers before I go and see it in the movie theater so I don't know the whole movie. Lastly, I was really hoping to see something in the Souls universe, either a Bloodborne 2 or a new Dark Souls game. So a little disappointed about that. Maybe it's, still in its early stages. I know we got a teaser last year, and we're still waiting to hear about what that surprise game is. We don't know. I'm guessing it's Bloodborne 2 because Bloodborne was such a hit, and it's one of the best PlayStation 4 games of all time. And I still love Dark Souls, but I gotta say I like Bloodborne just a little bit more. I started with Bloodborne, and then I went into the Souls franchise. So maybe we'll see something next year, or it will just get a trailer. Either way, I still have hope that we're going to get another Bloodborne game. Now I'm going to give you my overall rating and review of the PlayStation conference, and I thought that the pacing was pretty weak. We had musical numbers that intermittently would be spaced out in between little segments of their showcases. And the live performances were just kind of annoying. I posted on Twitter, God make the flute stop, just because I had a headache at the time, and I was trying to edit a video at the same time of watching E3. So this flute in the background that went on for like 3 minutes was just a little too much. I think that we could have used that time for a new game or some indie games, something. Sprinkle in some indie games in there. What I think Sony needs to start doing is to have some more pre-recorded segments in their show, kind of like Nintendo does. You're not going to have those cheesy moments, you're not going to have those really cringy moments, and you're not going to have technical difficulties like we had galore at the Sony's conference tonight. So with that said, I'm going to give the PlayStation conference a B-. I'm still happy with it. We got some really cool gameplay from some games that I've been waiting to see and to hear about. We got that Resident Evil 2 remake, which was awesome. Ghost of Tsushima seems awesome. Neo 2 looks really cool. And I think that The Amazing Spider-Man is obviously going to be, I don't know if it's Game of the Year, but it's going to be up there. It's going to be a tough call between Red Dead Redemption 2 and Spider-Man at the end of the year. So only time will tell. But I really think that the highlight of this show was Rick and Morty's game and the bathtub guy. Why did we have that and not anything from Rockstar or Borderlands or anything, but we had a Rick and Morty game that, granted, looks fun. I'm probably going to play it. I'll buy it, too. I hope they make a VR version as well. But anyways, guys, that is my review of the Sony PlayStation conference. Thank you so much for watching. I was really happy with the conference. I can't wait for tomorrow morning. I think Nintendo is going to steal the show easily, so I get to edit this video. I'm posting my Ubisoft's video. My computer was having some issues on YouTube, and then film Nintendo's reaction video in the morning. I know I'm going to be hyped, so expect some really cool things. I've heard under the grapevine that we're going to get some weird games that are not normally on Nintendo's stage tomorrow. And let's hope we get an Animal Crossing and a Metroid Prime trilogy remastered announcement. We can only hope, but I know I'm probably going to only get one of those things. And if we just get Yoshi, I'm going to be disappointed. You guys have a good rest of your night or day, depending on where you are. And please make sure to subscribe and give it a thumbs up. Or give it a thumbs down if you didn't think I had anything constructive to say. I'm going to go and get some sleep because it's been a long day. And I will see you in the next video. Peace!